Hello, welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are focusing on Dragon Ball Super Chapter 84, titled A People's Pride. And again, I'm Jason Hahn, and I am a writer for Screen Rant. I happen to write a lot of video game news, but I'm a huge manga fan, and so we started the Mega Manga Podcast. Got a hold of a couple other of my buddies who are huge fans of a bunch of different series, and I could just sit here and talk about Dragon Ball Super for a while by myself, but that wouldn't be nearly as entertaining. So I got a couple buddies from Screen Rant who happen to write in the comics section, and they write all kinds of really interesting, cool stuff on there. Definitely check it out. But Steven, you wanna introduce yourself first?
Yeah, so my name's Steven. Been writing for the comics side for a little over a year now, mostly focusing on manga, and then delving into a lot of Sonic lore and other things like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this chapter, and I'm glad that Spencer is with us, one of our other comic writers who's here with us today. He writes about a lot of fun stuff, so I'm excited you're here, Spencer.
Hey, thanks so much. Yeah, hey, I'm Spencer. Check out manga, kind of all over the place with whatever I'm in the mood for, writing Alien, Marvel, whatever. It sounds pretty cool. I'm just like, hey, yeah, I could write that up. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think this chapter gave us a whole lot to talk and a lot to write about. I feel like last chapter was one of my least favorites in a long time, just with the implications of Bardock making the wish for Goku and his children. It kind of just... I'm glad that they kind of specified it, or they were a little bit more specific with what it meant in this, with Vegeta's whole comment of like, oh, well, that's why you guys survived as children. I was afraid it was going to make Goku like a blessed child who the only reason he's been able to attain all this strength was because of a wish his father left him. And that's always been kind of the opposite of what Goku's shtick is. Like, throughout the entire series, it's about working hard to protect your friends or to protect what's strong for or important for you. And that just kind of cheapened that, in my opinion. Some people loved the twist. I did not, but I was really happy with this chapter. We only got a couple pages of them reacting to the flashback, and it almost acted as if they pulled up YouTube and watched a motivational video. Like, it feels like they're pumped up and ready for whatever's coming next. And then Gas shows up, and then we got some great action, which I was a pretty big fan of. Some great panels of Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct Goku fighting together, which is something... it makes us fanboys, it makes the hair on our arms tingle, getting to watch them fight together, because they're usually so adamant in, fighting one-on-one against bad guys. So watching especially these two forms that are like polar opposites from each other work in tandem was just a real treat.
Oh yeah, I thought so too. Especially when they first powered up together, because that was the first time we see them, Vegeta Ultra Ego, Goku Ultra Instinct. That was just so epic.
Yeah, it made me smile pretty big, and there was a couple panels that definitely felt a little weird. Not nearly as bad as like Bardock's leg breaking kick from a couple chapters ago, but those awesome panels overshadowed any of my frustrations with any of that. But Steven, what'd you think, man?
I almost just want to sit back and listen to you guys talk, just because it's sounding like so positive, because like I'm kind of the flip side of you, Jason. Like, I loved the last chapter, and then this chapter not so much, so I kind of just want to sit back and listen. But I guess, going back to everyone's reaction to it, I'm almost hoping that Vegeta didn't understand the full the full level of what it actually meant. And I know Goku, he says something like, "Oh, so that's what this power." He says something about his power that kind of seems like he's putting things in perspective, that maybe he took more from it than Vegeta did. But I'm almost I'm kind of saddened by the fact that, and it's weird because we've been seeing Vegeta grow as in an incredible way that we've never seen before in the series.
Yeah,
He's
especially last couple arcs.
yeah, like he's
Yeah.
just been like dealing with a lot of things, but now because of that, he's grown so much that this is the moment where if he hadn't grown, it would have created a lot of conflict between him and Goku. But now that Vegeta seems to have moved beyond all of those things, like as he's rethinking his Saiyan pride, he's like, I'm not getting like this could have been so wrought with tension and conflict. It's just so ironic that he's changed so much up until this point, so that when we get to this big moment, it's like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, like he basically just says, "Man, you are the most pampered Saiyan ever." And then, well, you pamper bra, so
Yeah, yeah. Goku just like not fully understanding the insults is one of my favorite ongoing gags. Um,
Oh yeah.
but you kind of touch on one bit of this chapter. I actually totally agree. I disliked, but it might be for a different reason though. But Vegeta bringing up the Saiyan's pride and this and that, like it just seems to be like his catchphrase at this point. But the whole concept of Saiyan pride has just evolved so much since he first dropped those words when he landed on Earth. Like.
yeah.
It's just kind of, it doesn't mean the same thing it used to mean anymore. And I kind of feel like it's almost I mean, obviously word or actions are stronger than words with this, but with Vegeta bringing that up, it was almost making me afraid of just like, are you about to throw away all the like interesting character development that you've been building in these past couple arcs? Like, what do you mean Saiyan pride? Like, what does it necessarily mean to you guys anymore? Like,
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, to add to that, like it was like you guys were saying, it was cool seeing Goku and Vegeta fight together, which I thought was awesome too. It's just that, not too long ago, Vegeta was like he almost took his frenemy or frenemy relationship with Goku to a whole other level where he's like, I am actually not on your side. I would rather die than fight next to you. And basically he almost does die against Gas. Like because he's just because he just like, we're not on Earth anymore. I'm not playing by these rules. This is how I actually feel about you. And it was like, and I also wrote about it too. Like where he almost like like recycles that scene from Dragon Ball Z right before Vegeta sacrifices himself for his son when he blows up to take on Buu. Like he almost has like that same look on his face, like just a smile on his face, taking on his death. And it's just like that was a huge moment. And then now, after just like that little pep talk, like you're saying, it's like all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I can fight alongside you now, Goku, because my Saiyan pride is different now, and that means we can fight together and win." So,
Right. Yeah. And earlier too, Vegeta. It almost seemed like, and I feel he kind of said it too. He really only cared about Goku to the extent of how Goku could make him more powerful. So now, yeah, kind of teaming up and doing this, yeah, like you said, after that one pep talk is kind of it did feel a little rushed for sure. Visually, it was super cool to see that, and then you can just imagine seeing it, whatever. But yeah, no, the as far as the storyline goes, yeah, the first few pages definitely were just like, okay, well, these guys need to work together to fight Gas, so let's get them there. But yeah, I definitely see you guys mean in as far as that goes.
and I do like. I think they did it perfectly with Goku. He suddenly gets all of those memories of seeing his dad and Jean, his mom. Like
he just watched the first half of Super Broly.
Yeah, right. I thought that was really powerful. Like just seeing, even though there weren't any words, it was just a few panels. Like it was enough to show that it impacted him. And I would have been, fine with him undergoing a change. Like we needed something like that for Vegeta, but I mean, obviously they only have like 48 pages or so per chapter. But I think they did a perfect job with Goku, like showing how much he was impacted by the message.
Yeah, Vegeta's just like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, I've got the chapter up in front of me, and I don't know. It was kind of like what Goku took from this. I understand what he needs to take from the flashback, and I'm interested to see, especially after this arc wraps up, if he is now suddenly more interested in like keeping or more interested in saying stuff, like because he's always been so kind of the Superman idea of Earth's my home and this is my new life. I don't really care about my past that much.
Right.
And you guys have probably read a lot more Superman than I have, so I might be totally wrong on that. But there's like a panel where it's just like that Goku is saying he hasn't had total faith in this power. So it's kind of I don't know if it's hinting at he's just like, oh yeah, I've been never had faith in my power, and now that I will have faith in my power, it could unlock some new form or something like that. But just like thinking back to all the like big fights Goku's ever been in, like I've just never really feel like he's ever been in a situation or I feel like he's never doubted his power. He's always actually been quite cocky. Yeah. And,
I'm really glad you brought that up. Were you going to say something, Spencer? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing.
But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because it's like, I mean, at least, when I was a kid, watching it on Toonami, like one of like the big, and I still remember the commercial. I don't know why, but like one of Toonami's commercials for like
those were so good.
Goku was fighting for, or he's like they just always did the scene where it's like when there's a will, there's a way type of thing. It's like that's like ultimate faith right there, and it's just weird. Like, yeah, this is a crazy moment, like where he actually said he admits that. It almost seems off. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't I remember reading that, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, and it's really like instantly followed with Vegeta's panel of saying, "I've lost sight of it as well." It's like, no, you haven't. You consistently tell us almost every other scene you're in about it, like.
Right. And then kind of also going back to the whole saying pride. I mean, I recently wrote a piece. It was basically Vegeta's own pride is kind of his downfall in the fights. It happened with him versus Golden Frieza and Super, and then again when he's facing off against Goku Black, aka Zamsu. He doesn't deliver that final move, and that allows the villain to kind of do one more thing that is super detrimental. Frieza destroys the Earth, and Zamasu merges with his other self, to the point where Goku has to come behind him and be like, Vegeta, do it now. But Vegeta's too busy. You had no chance against me. Here I am. I'm so
too
powerful.
Busy talking about his Saiyan pride.
He has to rub it in. It's like you thought you could go up against me, a Saiyan? Like, you're a fool. I'm the greatest Saiyan. And so this issue is a little, it's kind of like what we were saying. They needed to give them that extra boost to go up against Gas and to do so together. I just feel like they just did it a little too fast in this first few pages.
Well, especially real quick, just like on pages 6 and 7, like a lot of people who are way more talented and knowledgeable in like manga formats and stuff like that like to point out the difference between like Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z is Super just there's so much like unneeded dialogue and panels that don't need to be there, and just like on pages 6 and 7 of this, it is literally just like those few pages of them just talking to each other about their reactions to that thing. And it's just, it's just a whole bunch of like, it just feels like unneeded. Like, I guess we needed to, flesh out their opinions of what they just watched. But I'd almost rather the Team 4-Star guys like summon up and like Goku goes through that entire flashback, and the thing he comes out of it is like, oh, my dad wore armor. Like, just it just seems like they don't even understand what they just witnessed. They just pick up the weirdest little thing about it, and but I guess we needed all that. We needed the tension, and they needed to fill the first fourth of this chapter with something before the action started. So I almost feel like Toyotaro, is that the guy behind Super? Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of times where he could have done this whole chapter in 30 pages, but he felt compelled to put it over 40. Like they just seem to fill stuff with things that don't need to be there. And
I think that that would be right if they did the dialogue correctly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I want them, like, I don't know, I've had this conversation before, like in fighting manga, I like it when they talk. Like I want more dialogue, but I wanted it to be more meaningful, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, like,
More
I want
substantial dialogue.
Yeah, I want them to talk like, I said it before too, like in the Broly movie, like, oh man, that dialogue was epic. But
Oh yeah, like every sentence informs you of something new. Yeah.
Yeah, and even with like those, I don't even remember their names because they were so minor. Like just like those minor characters, and they're having conversations among themselves. Like even those conversations were like, whoa, they're speaking like human beings. Like I don't know. It was just it was very, very exciting, at least in that movie. But I mean, back to this. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you that like they're kind of like finding the wrong things to focus on almost.
Yeah.
Like when Vegeta says, "I've lost sight of it" as well. I know you guys were talking about it. Like for me, I don't think it should have said as well. Like I mean, I think that he lost sight of the fact that victory is more important than anything else. Like I think that's what he basically got from it. Because remember when Bardock was saying to Gas, he's like, "No, I'm not thinking about trying to like, pay back for my sins or whatever, or trying to, get back at you for killing Granola's mom. I'm just thinking about whooping your butt," type of thing. and he's like, "All I'm thinking about is victory." And I think, that's like that's the number one thing that Vegeta basically takes, because I mean, he's now fighting alongside Goku. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely.
Yeah, I don't know. As I'm going through this chapter again, like it's one of those things where like Vegeta does say, "I've lost sight of all this as well, but my burden is not the sins of all Saiyans, but of our people's pride." So that is kind of him, like,
Yeah,
I'd say
true.
acknowledging that, and it is quite a meaningful sentence for him to say, because before, especially after he decided to turn good, he's looked at all the sins of the Saiyans as his fault. It's all on his shoulders as the prince of all Saiyans and this and that. And the flashback kind of helped him evolve, it seems, more than I'm realizing, with that line of, "But our people's pride is my burden." Like, it's him almost acknowledging like everything Bardock did was, important, but I don't know, it's like him acknowledging the weaknesses of Saiyans. But I highly doubt that that's going to dramatically affect the next few arcs. I'm sure Vegeta is still going to be, "Let me take him on," and then lose, and then because they love doing that to Vegeta, and I want him to have a win. But one other huge disappointment I had about this chapter, I loved their Saiyan armor, and I really wanted to watch them fight in it.
Right? I was really hoping they would fight in that.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
As cool as the panels of them walking out, and it looks awesome, but as soon as like I saw that, I was just like, "Oh no, oh come on, you guys tease us with the Saiyan armor. I want to see it."
Yeah.
Looks like I have to go to that meeting.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for chatting, man. Yeah, well,
yes, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say one last thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I go, yeah, I could be completely reading too much into it, but I kind of wanted, like, so when Vegeta, is fighting, as with his alter ego, it almost like the way that Dragon Ball works, they don't go into that much detail of how they're fighting or why they're fighting. It's just like a bunch of punches and whatnot. But one of the things that I loved about alter ego was just how much it was. It revolves around Vegeta's personality, and it felt like it was, that aspect of it was lost until like the very last panel where does he say? I'm trying to go to the panel where he's like, "Do you damage is nothing but fuel for me." Because that's basically like, that's what one of the aspects of alter ego that it's proprietary to him. But like before that, he's just punching and kicking and doing all this stuff, and it almost felt like he was just like another level of Super Saiyan.
Right.
Like I wanted to hear more. Like I don't want to say like he needs to be like Gege from Jujutsu Kaisen where he explains everything.
Yeah.
But it's like I almost want I want his alter ego to be differentiated from that type of fighting. Like that's I wanted more of that. So like it was great in that last page where it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually getting stronger because of that. It's like, that's what I wanted like 30 pages ago.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I'd say even like chapters ago, because that's kind of the thing that I've been needing with this new form is I just need more time with it so we learn more about it, because I mean it is still such a new thing that I highly doubt that we'd be able to know everything that it's entailing. But yeah, I know you gotta go, man. So
bye, sorry.
No, it's good. See ya. But yeah, he actually brings up a great point. Like I wanted to bring up kind of more on Vegeta's forms, because Goku's like we haven't really. I feel like we got a lot more explainer and got into a lot more detail on Ultra Ego or Ultra Instinct on the Moro arc. So until like Goku kind of pulls out a new form, I'm glad that we're focusing more on Vegeta. I was really enjoying the panels of him fighting with his Ultra Ego, because it seems like every chance they get, he's making like a very egocentric face on no matter what he's doing, compared to like if you look at the calm composure of Goku, he's it's just that extra little thought into these forms I'm really enjoying.
Exactly. And I mean those godlike forms for them, they fit each of them perfectly.
Yeah.
I love that once Goku really started honing in with his training with Whis, and he was the first one to come to the Ultra Instinct, because they were both doing it together originally, and then Goku broke that barrier first in the Tournament of Power, and Vegeta's over there, I'm so sick of him breaking that barrier first every time. And then he kind of goes off afterwards, and Beerus is like, do you really want to know power? Like, it's not just dodging, like, not to undercut Ultra Instinct, that's crazy, but Ultra Ego, just the power of a destroyer god, that's wicked, and that is definitely more fitting for Vegeta. So yeah, no, I agree. I can't wait to spend more time with that form for him.
Oh, for sure. And to kind of see, I mean, they definitely did a good job of like pushing it to the limits against the Granola fight, but it was so little time with it that I'm definitely excited to see more of it. But yeah, funny you bring that up. Before we started recording, you said that you've been reading the Super manga. I'm somebody who jumped into the manga after the anime finished, because I was hungry for more, and but I haven't gone back and read that stuff, unfortunately. So I'm not sure like what's in the manga and what's in the anime only, because I know that there's some differences. But I do remember one particular episode, and it might have just been in the dub, because the dub seems to translate some things differently, and it almost makes more sense a lot of the time.
Oh, no, for sure.
But Whis, I remember him talking to both Goku and Vegeta and kind of pretty much laying out all of Vegeta's faults in front of him. And he almost acknowledged that like Goku is definitely more suited for something like, I don't think they even revealed Ultra Instinct at the time, but they're just kind of talking about the new form. And I just remember it because we stepped in a pile of poop as the joke or something, but he was just talking about how the body reacts before the mind can. And they're just like, well, why did you just step in that thing of poop? And he's like, oh, I didn't have it turned on at that time, or something along those lines. But I feel like that was all before Tournament of Power. So, I mean, it was kind of, well, yeah, now that I think about it, like even at the end of Tournament of Power, Vegeta used Destroyer energy against Toppo.
He just that was the first little bit, because Toppo was also using Destroyer energy because he was a candidate for his universe.
Yeah,
so that was like the first sign that before he really takes up training with Beerus to become this. That was the first sign that Vegeta could actually tap into that just all by himself, and that's something that's always been really cool about Vegeta, is that he's able to get to these forms all by himself, like especially when it comes to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah, I still wish we
know,
got that moment. Like, I wish that we could have gotten a flashback of that, because like in Dragon Ball Z, we got that whole like episode where he's training in the meteors, and you get his amazing like monologue, and the monologue they freaking cut from Dragon Ball Kai, which is dumb. That's like one of the
did they?
Yeah, that like whole scene I guess isn't in it. And I was
that's dumb.
I agree. I heard about that. I was like, that is literally like one of my favorite moments of the whole series, because the music was perfect, the voice acting was phenomenal, and it was
so epic.
It was great. Yeah, I almost feel like I would love to see not Vegeta training in a bunch of meteors and doing the same thing and getting red form, but I would love to see. Maybe we still could, because maybe Vegeta will get to a point where he's like training his ultra ego to get more and more powerful. Then maybe he'll go back to thinking of when he attained the red form for some reason or another. It could still happen.
That would be really cool. Yeah, no, that would actually make a lot of sense. I mean, that's another thing that's been standard throughout Dragon Ball, is that these forms, they increase the power that you already have in your base form. Mm-hmm. So you need to be very powerful without any kind of like added form to really reach that peak and go up against ridiculous fighters, like Gas or like Jiren. So that would be very interesting if they did that. I would love that, because you're right. Yeah, he just kind of Goku, he was able to reach Super Saiyan God because of the whole ritual, and then a little bit later he comes back with Blue, and then Vegeta is also Blue, and it's just kind of a very brief like, oh yeah, like I got there all by myself. Or even Goku, he kind of describes her as like, actually Vegeta, I did it this way, he did it all by himself, so that's a little bit more impressive. And that's always been his thing. Of course, I feel like sometimes that kind of holds him back, but he does reach that extra level completely alone, which I guess is something that he's kind of developing out of after reading this latest issue. I guess that kind of goes back to the whole his Saiyan pride, has to do everything alone. Because I always took the Saiyan pride as just victory, and just kind of you go to a world or you go up against a fighter and you don't back down. And that's what I always got from him, instilling in Trunks, whenever he encounters future Trunks, and everything like that. But yeah, I guess they kind of, form that a little bit differently, because now they're, whatever Saiyan pride, kind of lost track of that. Let's, come together. We're both Saiyans. Let's fight together. Let's beat Gas with these crazy new forms. So I guess this, I'm sure they'll go back to the standard, like you said, Vegeta, just like, what, Kakarot, like, go away. Like, I'm gonna beat this guy by myself.
Finish this.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, as far as this goes, I mean, they're working together, which is, definitely interesting. I mean, it got there a little bit too fast. I think, just from the beginning of this issue to the middle of the issue.
I was surprised.
To see it. Yeah. I was very surprised.
I mean, as soon as Gas showed up, I was just like, oh, is this chapter almost done already? And then I
thought they were going to kill him. I thought they were going to beat him. I was like, wow, are they wrapping this up like that? Like, holy crap.
Yeah. Well, I think back to, I mean, even the Granola and the Bardock fight. I mean, we've been fighting Gas. We've had so many characters fighting Gas that I'm ready for him to like show us something new. Because I really enjoyed his singular fight with Goku, where he's like spawning things on Goku's arms to like weigh him down, and I thought it was he did it again in this chapter where he just spawned like the shield, but I felt like they wanted to do it for like the dramatic tension and stuff, like they both are working at an attack together to force him back, but. I mean, Vegeta just threw some destroyer energy at him. I was really hoping that was going to be like Gas, just like, okay, just another blast, let me block this. And I was hoping it was just going to like instantly tear through his shield, because it's supposed to be destroyer energy. And I feel like as time goes on, they're just making destroyer energy and normal key energy seem so similar now. Like, especially from after this moment, it just doesn't feel special, unfortunately.
I completely agree.
And I feel like it should. It should be very
Yeah.
different.
Well, especially, Destroyer Energy and Ultra Instinct, like, Goku, he was getting worked a little bit by gas, even though Vegeta was right there with him, but he was tapped into Ultra Instinct, So I don't like how powerful is gas, because he made the wish on the Dragon Balls to be the strongest in the universe, but I always kind of got, Ultra Instinct, that's the power of the angels, and then Ultra Ego is the power of the gods. I always felt like that was almost multiversal. Like, I feel like you have to wish upon maybe the Super Dragon Balls to get to that level.
It's like
to just get there.
It's like making a wish to be the most powerful mortal in the universe, and just like, okay, that's nice. Well, we've been training with gods. We're literally we're literally as powerful as gods, and so it's it just welcome back, Steven.
Hey, Steven, what's up?
That was a stupid man.
Stupid work stuff.
This one's more fun.
Yeah, I gotta go talk about comics with my friends. But yeah, we're just talking about Vegeta using like destroyer energy, and there's like that moment where Gas is like using his shield against it, and it took both like Vegeta and Goku's godly powers to destroy this shield and force him back. And I just feel like they're making destroyer energy and key energy way too similar now. And I feel like destroy energy should, be something radically different. Like, I was totally expecting Gas to be like, oh yeah, I can take this hit. And then instantly it just goes through his shield and he's like, oh crap. Like, that would have been great.
I mean, what I'm thinking, at least, I could be wrong, but like, I know before in his earlier battle with Gas, when it was just Vegeta and Gas, like Vegeta tried to use destruction energy and it was completely worthless. Like, it didn't do anything. Like, I'm thinking that it's not fully 100% yet.
Oh, he hasn't mastered it.
Yeah. So I think that might be it. Like, it just looks all cool, but it just hasn't gotten there. So that's my take. I mean, that's what it has to be. I mean, if they're making it exactly the same, that would be completely odd and weird.
Yeah, right.
and it might also work differently when it's channeled through mortals. Because it was kind of similar. It was kind of similar when Toppo was using it in the Tournament of Power, where he was still able, because Vegeta, he kind of tapped into it a little bit as well. But when he did the super power up, it kind of knocked Toppo out of the ring, which led to him being eliminated, even though he was channeling destroyer energy. So maybe that could be it. I'm not sure. Maybe there's another step they have to go through to truly be considered divine. I don't know. I mean, with that whole divine, kind of presence or essence or whatever. I mean, Zamasu and Goku Black. I mean, that kind of taught us, they can't really ever reach that. And Super Saiyan Rose is a perfect example. They'll never reach Super Saiyan Rose, because while they can channel God energy, they're not actually gods.
I'll just like to take the point to say that it's great to have you here, Spencer, just because I know you're doing a lot of articles on earlier Dragon Ball Super. So, like, all this stuff is fresh on your mind. So I'm glad that you're here, because, I mean, I don't remember any of that. So this is awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, heck yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the time, man.
Glad to be here.
But yeah, another thing about this too, like, just us talking about like Vegeta kind of going to Beerus to attain destroyer power while Goku is learning from Whis Ultra Instinct. It was also teased that like Beerus hasn't fully mastered it yet, but he's like able to do Ultra Instinct as well. I think watching these two guys fight just make me appreciate Beerus even more. Like, I've been anxious since they unveiled him and he didn't blow up Earth. Anxious to watch him go 100%. And it's kind of stuff that, like, I've said it before in previous podcasts, but when you're watching, especially when Dragon Ball Super was airing week to week, and then you'd go to Reddit or online and people were throwing out crazy theories on what this could all mean. And then the series ended and you're like, oh, well, a lot of the fans are better writers than the writers of Dragon Ball Super. Like, we were all thinking it was all leading to like a gods versus mortals war, and we were going to see like Beerus have to or we all wanted like Goku to fight Beerus in the finale, and then they're like, we have one episode left, and you're like, I don't think we're gonna get all that, guys. Like,
I have a feeling. I mean, it could come. I mean, I think they're probably building it out. I mean, 'cause, I mean, especially just thinking about the Tournament of Power. I mean, they just introduced like all of these universes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then we just left them behind. So I mean, they're coming back. I mean, something's building up. So I mean, but yeah, definitely we haven't gotten that yet. And I would like to see that side of Beerus because, like you said, he was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like because it was just like it just. He wasn't like any other villain before. Like he's just like, you know what? If I don't like this food, I'm gonna destroy your planet, type of thing. It's just like there's no rhyme or reason. Like before, we thought that Boo was nuts. Like he just likes destroying just to destroy stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this guy's just like, if I'm bored, I'm gonna destroy you. Or if I feel this way, I'm gonna destroy. Like it was just the most uncontrollable type of character. Like. Yeah.
Well, it was they even teased something similar a couple chapters ago, and I got really excited and then disappointed when it turned out to be nothing. When Goku teleported, or Gas was chasing Goku, and he teleported to Whis, I was like, oh my god, are we gonna get to see like this saga's big bad fight against, Whis or even Beerus for like a little bit? Like, it's stuff that they've consistently just teased a little bit, like especially in the Broly movie. Like Broly comes up to Whis and he's just like, "Oh, hi," and then Vegito just shows up, or Gogeta shows up, and we don't get any of that. So it's just they consistently keep teasing us with that, and I'm almost wondering if they do have like a big. A bigger part for the gods to play later on, but that would definitely help establish a big bad. Like if they brought in a big bad that Whis and Beerus were worried about, I think that would be incredible. But
yeah, well, from the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, I mean, they've been teasing that the Super Saiyan God is the one that's going to challenge Beerus. It's like, and that's why he goes after and forces Goku to kind of do that ritual to become the Super Saiyan God. Is like, I want to fight you. Like, it was foretold that you would be the one that was going to actually challenge me. Well, let's see it. And then, Beerus just kind of, worked him. I still
think it's Broly. Like, it makes a lot of sense for that to be Broly, and we haven't gotten confirmation that it's not Broly.
I like that.
But I mean, they just hyped Broly up so much in the movie, saying like he's never actually like fought for real. Like he's only been trained by his father. But it was a very dumb line that they even used in the trailer of Vegeta, like he's learning while he's fighting, and it's just like, well, that's what you guys have always been doing. What are you talking about?
Like, what is he, a cyborg, a robot? Like,
yeah,
artificial intelligence.
He's learning.
But if you watch that, yeah, it's learning. He's a neural net processor. But if you like watch that whole movie through that perspective, like that's literally Broly figuring out how to do that on the fly. Like he didn't know how to use ki. He didn't know. I don't think he even knew how to fly. Like he literally was figuring that all out on the go, and that's a Super Saiyan God to me, honestly. Like, and they've even teased in the new movie, the superhero movie coming out, that they have a few segments of Broly training on Beerus's planet with them.
Ooh.
So that's exciting. But that all is supposed to take place, I think, way after this kind of stuff. So I'm almost wondering if we'll get a time skip after this saga. I'd be all for that.
I'd be for that. I mean, they've introduced, Vegeta with Ultra Ego, and they're getting better, with the Goku Ultra Instinct. They could totally do a time jump. That would be sweet. And bring Broly in. Wow, I love that theory that he's the Super Saiyan God. Especially with training with Goku, like how they left it in the movie. But like you said, if he's going to be training with Beerus and Whis, that's a powerhouse.
Yeah, and I mean they're just going to all these lengths to set up all of these incredibly powerful new forms and abilities and stuff like that. A time skip would be perfect, especially if they started getting into like multiversal threats and stuff. I can see people in the comments already just like, check out Dragon Ball Superhero or the Heroes series. That's all multiversal weirdness. Like I've tried. It's super weird, and I don't. It's hard to watch. But we may cover that series in another topic. But Another thing that I got really excited even thinking about while I was reading this chapter, now that we have, Vegeta's powers kind of accentuated with, the more damage I take, the more damage I do. And then you have Goku's Ultra Instinct, which does all that stuff. What happens when you fuse the two together? Like
gnarly.
Yeah.
That would be
That's what
insane.
you get.
What do you get?
Silence.
Sweet.
Right.
But yeah, like if they did a fusion dance now and they somehow combined the abilities of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego together, like that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. And
Really cool. I can't even fathom.
I know it's unlikely unless they get the Potera earrings, but I keep on going back to this whole thing where it would be absolutely phenomenal, even more than that for me, that if Goku had to fuse with Granola, just again using the Potera earrings, just because, like, Granola for me, I know that I've been hearing some things about how he's like a copy of Vegeta or something. But for me, he's one of like my most favorite characters I've seen in a while, just because he's basically like a reincarnation of, or like recycled version of Baby from Dragon Ball GT. And just like what I loved about that is
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
But it's like what was so cool about that is that it was like one of the first time, if not the first time, where we actually got like a big bad from that ancient Saiyan era. And it was exciting, but he was also kind of removed because he was a robot, that was given the will of the race that the Saiyans destroyed. Mm-hmm. So he was part of it, but he was removed. And now this Granola, he is not removed from that at all. Like he experienced it. Like he saw, his mother was killed. He was almost killed. And he's just gone through such like a journey. Like he's had like decades of hating the Saiyans. Like they're at fault. They're the worst things ever. Having to confront the Saiyans, and then all of a sudden getting a bombshell like, oh, I'm alive because of a Saiyan. Mm-hmm. So even though he's like on their side, like how insane would it be if they got the Potera earring somehow, and they had to fuse together. Like, even though he's accepted them as a Saiyan, like, that would be, like, a huge mental leap for him to have to do. Like, all that mental anguish of having to fuse with a Saiyan. Like, sure. I think that would be awesome. I want that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I do like Granola a lot, too, and I, as much trash as people like to talk about GT, at least when I was a kid, it's been a long time since I've watched it, so I'm not sure if it still holds up as well, but I remember the Baby Saga was actually like the one that I really liked in GT. It had some pretty cool fights and some cool ideas, but yeah, I maybe need to go back and rewatch that and pull out my DVDs and see how that still holds up. But yeah, I don't think Granola's out. Unfortunately. What was that? Sorry?
No, they just took it off Hulu, unfortunately. So.
Oh, well, I found like a box set at a local pawn shop, and it was the whole series for like $10.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I
lucked. You have a DVD player? What?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
It doesn't work in VHS. So I don't think Granola is out of this yet, but
no.
Also, he kind of wished to have his life like severely shortened. Yeah. So I mean, there's that tragic ending. Especially now that he's like less angry at the Saiyans and everything. He doesn't have that hate he's carrying around.
He can die in peace.
Yeah,
not until he fights Frieza. I really want to see that fight. I want Frieza back. First off, he's off doing his own thing. Like, yeah, we got him in Broly, but we really haven't seen him in the manga since Tournament of Power. Yeah. And the whole reason Granola did all of this is because he wanted to kill Frieza.
Yeah,
and he got sidetracked by the Heaters, and they deserve it. They killed his mom and everything, but Frieza's the real reason they were even there. Why his whole people were wiped out. I mean, it's all Frieza is just so evil, man. Give me that fight.
Exactly. They've name dropped him a couple times, and this arc has, especially in our previous discussions, like this arc has teased a lot of things that we really wish
Yeah.
that they would bring in. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even full on say Raditz's name, but they've brought him up
Yeah,
a
I
couple
know,
times.
A lot, yeah.
Like, just say his name, man. Say his name.
Yeah,
We know who you're talking about.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, one theory I think I'd come up with our last discussion was Bardock made the wish that all of his sons or his children would thrive. And what if there's a sibling we don't know about?
Yeah.
I thought that could be cool, but yeah, I think one of us or one of you guys even wrote a story about like how the whole series has ignored Raditz. Like we've gone back and talking to people who have died. We've brought people back. You know, we've even gone to hell and seen our previously vanquished foes, but we've never seen Raditz. And
He's just gone.
He's just gone. Like they've mentioned him a couple times, and I would love it if, especially this chapter actually kept that idea going for me, that after this, if Goku has a new appreciation for Saiyan pride and family and stuff like that, it's kind of opening up the door for Goku to possibly try to get in touch with his brother in the other world, which I think could be pretty compelling. But yeah, especially with the last chapter setting up Bardock wishing that his offspring would thrive. I thought it'd be really interesting if there was like a third sibling we don't know about, and then they arrive and cause a bunch of trouble, and then that makes Goku have to go back and try to talk to Raditz in the afterlife to find out more about this new character. But yeah, I mean that could all still happen. That's kind of something I'd like to see happen, especially with Goku getting more interest in what he thinks Saiyan pride is.
Yeah. I'm actually really psyched. That would be awesome, having like a Goku journey finding Raditz story. That would be really cool. A great change of pace for this. I'm completely down with that. I think that is amazing. You get 100 points today, sir.
Oh, thank you. Now I just need to get some people who are really good at art, and we'll make our own fan comic because as they have shown time and time again, fans a lot of the time come up with better ideas than they do.
That's so cool.
But so yeah, I guess that's something I would love to keep going. I kind of gave that little tease of earlier about what I would really like to see happen next, is if Goku and Vegeta fuse with these new powers, and we see some sort of hybrid between Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. That's what I want to see.
What I'm wondering is that, like, what if they fuse and they're so like if Goku's Ultra Instinct and Vegeta's Ultra Ego at that time, like they're basically the opposite of each other. What if they can't fuse? Like it would be like
like
kind of
two different.
Yeah, I think that would actually be really interesting if they do that. They could do like
I was feel like that's I was just about to say that's like a Jujutsu Kaisen troll. Like,
yeah, little gay trolling.
We're about to get this really cool thing. Nope, that didn't work. All right, something else cool is about to happen. I could see that happening, and it like backfires and blows them away, and they're knocked out for a little bit, and then Granola shows up.
Oh yeah,
and
that'd be cool.
Yeah, because I don't know, that's another thing too. In this chapter, they're like, "Oh, Gas is so strong now," and I was just like, the Heater said he's the strongest in the universe. He even outclasses Granola, and I'm like, no, he didn't. They fought, and Granola kind of kicked his ass. Like,
well, it was just because he was better at instant transportation. That was the big thing, which I hope they bring back with this, because that was like, it seemed like that's the key. Like, if you get this wish, it all comes down to instant transmission, which I think is pretty cool. Like, they need to bring that back. It's just like interesting. It's like one of those like techniques that you don't really like think about is key, but it ends up being like one of the ways that Goku almost defeated Gas, because Gas hadn't gotten like a hold on it yet. Like, that was really cool.
I'm not really sure if it's so much like them relying on Ultra Instinct to win. I think it's more of the intelligence, like the experience, and because I mean, of course, Gas has the most powerful power levels, or however you want to word it right now, but I feel like Goku and Vegeta's like experience in fighting are going to be the key here. And I mean, that's really the key to them winning any Dragon Ball Z battle that we've ever had so far, is them figuring out a way to outsmart their enemy.
Oh yeah. No, I mean just like with instant transmission, like being able to like master it, because like when it seemed like when everyone got wish to become the strongest in the universe, Gas suddenly gets instant transmission or a version of it, and then when Granola did it, he got a version of instant transmission, and it was because Gas had gotten the wish first and been using instant transmission longer. He had like a one-up on Gas, and then that was also a reason why Goku originally had a one-up on Gas, because he's been using instant transmission for years, and Gas had just been using it for like a few minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, anything else about this chapter that stuck out for you guys before we get into what you hope to see next?
I have two things really quick. One is, it looks like they didn't yell it out, but when they're both firing down on Gas together, it looked like, looking at Vegeta's hands, he's doing a Gallic gun.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We haven't seen that in a long time. I think that's a really cool thing. I just wanted to shout out, because that used to be like one of his signature attacks. We haven't seen that.
I still definitely think of it as a signature attack against like the Kamehameha wave. But yeah, now I think about it, I mean, we haven't really gotten the hand motions and stuff. I mean, anytime Vegeta's firing off a laser or something, it's just kind of a generic blast. But I think it just helped this chapter like stay as epic as possible. Like we see them both charging up together in their ultimate forms, and it was a very fan servicey chapter, and I love that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, it was epic.
And second, I would just say I really like. I don't know. You probably discussed it when I was off, but I really liked it when Vegeta almost was kind of reverting back to fighting dirty. When they're trying to like hold back, the blast that the destruction energy that was bounced off of Gas back to them. Like, so Vegeta and Goku are both pushing it back, and then Vegeta basically just lets go and jumps over, leaving Goku with Gas to go take it on. Like, it's kind of, even though like he's grown up so much, like I mean, just after hearing that Bardock thing, at least he hasn't lost that part of him. Because like, I mean, ever since they've come on to Granola, on Planet Cereal, they've made Vegeta almost out to be a villain. Like the way he fights Granola, like he's making Granola destroy his own like ruins, his people's ruins. He's resorting to biting, which is like a Goku thing almost. He's just fighting like a villain again. And even though he's had this change of heart, it seems, I'm glad to see him kind of throwing Goku under the bus at that one moment. I mean, because basically, it's like, that was a pretty jerk move.
It's kind of one of those things where he's just like, I know Kakarot can handle this, or instant teleportate it out of the way. There's so many ways Goku can handle it, but you kind of made me just think of, like, again, I would love it if Team 4 Star handled the dub and translation for a lot of this, because while they're stuck holding the blast, he's just like, oh, Vegeta, what, this is so strong, what do we do? And he's just like, I'm going to go hit him really hard. You handle this, I'm going to go punch Granola really hard. And then...
God,
that
just makes me think, Dad, pay attention to me. No!
Oh, man. That was actually... my wife had pretty much no knowledge of Dragon Ball Z, and during quarantine, we had a lot of time at home, so we started watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and we got through like the whole thing. And so my wife has watched all of Dragon Ball Z through the Abridged series. So
Dragon Ball Kai, is it? Was it Kai? You mean?
No, the like fan translation. If you haven't seen these guys, Team 4 Star on YouTube, pretty much went back and redubbed the entire Dragon Ball Z thing, but they like
What?
they like rewrote it and redubbed it with their own comedy and stuff. So they managed to tell the
It's
story.
hilarious.
Yeah, and they've gotten a lot of acclaim for it actually. But they ended up like really effectively telling the story of Dragon Ball Z, but they made it hilarious. Like every time
It's absurd.
every time Krillin gets like hit really hard, they have a Krillin gets pwned counter. And by the end of the series, it's like 70 something.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, dude, I'm blown away. You've never heard of this. You have so much
Yeah, you gotta check it
hours
out.
of enjoyment ahead of you. I'll send you a link on our Discord after this. What do you guys hope will happen in Dragon Ball Super Chapter 85?
Ooh,
I want more Bardock somehow. That's
right?
We got plenty of Bardock, man. I don't think it's gonna happen.
He's dead, man.
Yeah, just gotta let it go.
He's dead.
I know so many like Dragon Ball properties like to think that he teleported magic time travel when Frieza blasted Planet Vegeta, but you gotta let the dream die.
Yeah, just let him be dead. Yeah,
He's gone. He's gone.
Maybe we can get you a Raditz.
Get you a Raditz.
We'll get you a
Well,
Raditz.
they're
out of
we've been
Bardock.
talking about Raditz. It just makes me think. All I want to see now is Raditz go Super Saiyan 3. I mean, that hair.
I remember that.
I wanna see Nappa.
Like during Dragon Ball AF, like that whole thing. I remember like all these fan, drawings of what Raditz would look like as Super Saiyan 3. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like his hair's like
Wrap around him.
See, I've always been more curious on the opposite spectrum of Nappa going Super Saiyan and
eyebrows.
yeah. I
Strong.
think it was one of the best Dragon Ball Z games they've ever made was Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And there's a loading screen where Nappa and Vegeta are just chilling and they're just like, select that if you can, like just being jerks. And if you leave it long enough, one of the lines is Nappa saying like, hey, Vegeta, if you think if I go Super Saiyan, I'll get like a mustache or something. It's hilarious. I'm like, they actually put that in the game. That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I'm hoping that, Vegeta doesn't get totally stomped like they love to do.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping Vegeta is able to stand on his own. I mean, Goku's still there too. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see, I would hate to see them both fighting and then them get knocked out because that just feels like what's always going to happen. They get knocked out and then Granola shows up. Granola fights him and does pretty well. And then Vegeta or Goku end up having some new technique they pull out of their pocket to end the whole thing. I'm hoping that's not how it's going to go because that just seems like how it would normally go. I want them to surprise me a little bit more with that. Surprise me by giving Vegeta the win, please.
Yeah, I still just don't buy that Gas is this strong. Like, I know, like, yeah, made the wish to become the strongest in the universe, but like we talked about earlier, I mean, Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct, even if they haven't mastered it all the way yet, I mean, I don't know. Those are godlike powers. I feel like that transcends universal, like, the powers of what a mortal can achieve in the universe.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what the dragon of these Dragon Balls would do. Like, it's not like he wished on the Super Dragon Balls because I feel like that would be a different story.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't buy that he wasn't completely worked after, especially after those two powered up the way they did, like at the same time. Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, super epic, and then like you said, with the destruction power, Gas is still just able to block that with his like Psy Shield or whatever, and it's like, what? Come on, no way.
Well, and it's kind of my issue I've had with a lot of the arcs since Jiren, because they did such a good job of like making Jiren so terrifyingly powerful.
Yeah, he's like a mystery. Like, what is up with this guy?
Yeah, and still to this day, I'm very disappointed that they never really revealed how he attained such strength, like strength that even the gods of destruction feared.
We'll get there. I think it's coming. Like, again, I think
it's the further away we get from it, the more I'm thinking we're not ever going to get an explanation of it, and that kind of is a bummer. But exactly with this too, like, it was kind of, I felt the same way with Moro, but the more time we spent with Moro, the more I understood. It's just like, oh man, he's like a negative energy god. Like this is really interesting and cool. I ended up really liking Moro's villain arc and stuff like that. But
Until the end.
yeah, it got pretty. It
A
got,
little much.
yeah, we actually weren't doing the podcast back then, so we didn't. We haven't fully shared our thoughts on that one. But yeah, back to this. Like, yeah, Gas just it just feels so like, I don't know. It almost feels like this is like a side story until like Frieza shows up. But I mean, we got the Bardock thing too, which has implications on the entire series. That Goku has been, cosmically lucky thanks to a dragon wish. So I mean, there are those implications there. But so far, these villains just seem so. They could happen anywhere. Like, what's to stop this from happening again? From any planet that has Dragon Balls from a Namek. Like, I mean, they could people could just do this anytime now. It's been established.
Especially since you only have to gather 2 Dragon Balls, and it seems like there's only like a day you have to wait rather than a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of, that's something I really like about this arc, though, is basically all the wishes that we've been seeing, for the most part, we haven't actually seen them happen. And it's got me thinking, like, when Monedo, the Namekian, when he makes the wish for Bardock, Taranbo goes into his mind and is like, dude, is this okay with you, type of thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen dragons asking consent before.
Yeah, but it's like, did this happen with Gas? Like, it makes me wonder, because like it goes back to that whole thing we were talking about before about these or Taranbo being more like moral, or these Dragon Balls. Like, if you're moral, you'll get more from your wish, and if you're immoral, then you'll get the exact opposite type of thing. I'm wondering if that also comes into play with Gas, just because we don't see the moment when it happens. Like, did Taranbo speak with Gas to see if like it was okay if Alec did the wish for him, and like what those implications could mean if he didn't?
I don't think so. Like, because with the Bardock one, it wasn't to make him stronger; it was just to teleport him away. And we've even gotten dialogue from Gas of saying like, "Oh, I didn't want this because I've had confidence in my own abilities." I think the translators even said it like. He did it against my wishes, but I'll do whatever my brother needs me to do. So it almost makes me feel like it was forced upon him. So I don't think that, I don't think we got the overall consenting dragon asking about it this time. It just seems like it was only that one moment for Bardock to say no. Them kind of writing in the plot as conveniently they need it to be.
Oh, you think so? I just feel like because like the wish was for him, like because Monedo was doing a wish for Bardock, and in that case, Alec was making a wish for Granola on Granola's part.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've read it. I've read it differently, but I don't remember which chapter that was in, so I could absolutely be wrong.
No, it's not a problem.
That makes me think that maybe there might be a redemption arc for Gas, now that you said that. Because, I mean, throughout the whole time we've seen him, he's pretty stoic, and he's wearing this thing on his head that kind of holds back his true power. He just does whatever Alec tells him to do. I mean, Alec is truly a villain.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. Gas might be... he might be redeemable, now that you said that. I don't know.
Yeah, and he might have...
That got me thinking.
I know I brought it up like before too. It's like, even though like it seems like Gas already knew this, because when Granola went up to them, he told them that in order to become the strongest in the universe, he lost a crap ton of his life. Mm-hmm. But it's possible that Gas might have forgotten that, because remember, like, he already when Alec was about to make the wish for him, Gas was just saying, I want to fight on my own. I think I'm strong enough. He doesn't say anything about I don't want to lose my life type of thing.
Okay.
I'm wondering if like Alec went over there, started to make the wish. Toronbo's like, oh, he's gonna lose a lot of his life.
Yeah.
And Ella still makes the wish. Like, if I would love to see him like finals. Like, what?
Yeah.
You still make the wish?
Yeah, I almost wonder,
that would
like,
be cool.
Yeah, it was a theory we came up with in a previous discussion that when Granola made his wish, he almost negotiated with the dragon. He's just like, I want to be the most powerful. He's like, oh, I can't necessarily do that, but what I can do is I can condense your life into, only having like one, or was it three, like 1 to 3 years left, somewhere around
3 years. I think
3 years.
Yeah.
We didn't get that moment with Gas, so I'm almost wondering if Alec was like, oh no, don't even give him 3 years. We need him really strong. So just give him like 1 week.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. So I'm almost, that was one theory I had, was that they're going to keep fighting Gas until he just dies. Like, because the dragon gave him less time because he needed to be more powerful, maybe, was a theory I had. But
yeah, I mean, that's why I like how this whole arc is going, just because there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing, and there has to be a reason why we're not seeing it. Like,
exactly.
So you get great theories like yours just now.
Yeah, that's an awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Well, yeah. Any other thoughts on Dragon Ball Super Chapter 84, or what you guys would like to see in 85 before we move on to plugs and recommendations?
I mean, again, I would like to. We wouldn't get it in this chapter, in this next chapter, but I'm just interested to just find out more about these Dragon Balls and Toronbo, just because he's so much different from Shenron. And I do like that dichotomy between morality and immorality and how it can take an effect. It just seems like a more interesting mythological background. That I hope that they go into more depth with it.
Well, if you're interested in them going into more depth about the morality of Dragon Balls and stuff, there's this series called Dragon Ball GT that you might be interested in.
I loved that, even though like the first, the arc of Dragon Ball GT, it wasn't executed very well, but it was a great storyline. I loved the whole concept of it, that there was like all these negative wishes and that there's like a
Mega Shenron.
I thought that was really dope. I like that, just like the Black Dragon Ball thing. That was really cool.
I mean, there was a couple good ideas sprinkled throughout GT, but it's like having an Uzi. If you fire at something, you're bound to have a couple bullets hit. So
all right, I still dig Super Saiyan 4. I dig it.
It's my favorite. Cool. It's still my favorite.
I think it's cool. Yeah, a lot of people hate it, and they're like, "Oh, thank God that they don't do it." And Super, like, "Oh, that's awesome." Hated that. It's like, no, man. Like, Super Saiyan 4 was dope. I really dug. I hope they bring it back in some form or fashion in Super, because it could still technically be a form.
I feel like they did in the Broly movie. Because like Broly gets a power up and they're like, oh, well, so many Saiyans turn into like a monkey form. He has somehow channeled that energy without transforming. So I almost feel like that is
the same principles. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they took what they liked about the Super Saiyan 4, other than the look, and used it.
I need the aesthetic. I need it. It's part of it. I need it all. See,
I'd be satisfied with beards. If we do the time skip and we have Vegeta and Goku with beards again, I'd be satisfied. So,
but like that was like a big problem with GT, because like their hair never grows; it stays the same, which is weird that they had them grow beards.
Except you're forgetting Vegeta mustache.
Vegeta mustache.
Vegeta mustache. But like going back to Super Saiyan 4 though, like I just liked it because it was different. It just kind of it flipped the whole thing. Like it just would, each one just got more ridiculous. Like we get Super Saiyan 1, okay, Super Saiyan Ultra, which is just like really beefed up and slow, and then Super Saiyan 2, it's just like, oh, it's just the hairs get more stand uppy, and then Super Saiyan 3, there's a crazy amount of hair. So it was just like, it was just going in that direction, and then GT was like, nope, they get like a mullet and it's like,
Red
oh,
hair.
it's just cool, like because it's like it comes off of the Oozer or the Big Ape form. Like it
Yeah.
was just like, oh, nice twist. I like that. That's just me.
And who knows? I mean, Goku kind of getting interested in his Saiyan heritage. Maybe that could be a line towards a new Ozaru transformation.
Oh, totally. Because I mean,
You were on
they
a
skipped
roll
it.
today.
How? Not without your guys' help.
Yeah.
Not without your help.
Yeah, that could totally happen because after Super Saiyan 3, they went to God. They had Beerus came along and they were just like, you know what, let's go down this avenue of power. But they haven't even explored. Yeah, right, going back to their Saiyan roots and really unlocking Super Saiyan 4. So it could come back. It is not impossible.
I love that. And here we go. Goku arc going after his past, getting Raditz, going Uzuru. Yes, go Jason.
Raditz, Super
We want
Saiyan
it.
4. Oh.
Yeah, and at the end he unlocks Super Saiyan 4. Ugh.
Raditz has been training in hell this whole time, getting ridiculously powerful.
Hell, Raditz.
Hell of infinite losers. Was it Hell of definite losers and definite
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
losers?
Loser,
like that.
losery losers or something like that. But I would love a Goku centered arc where he's finding himself. But I really don't see Shonen Jump putting out an arc of self discovery. We've established these universe ending arcs, but maybe someday we'll write that live action Hollywood movie and we'll do it right.
Yeah. See, I just want to see an arc of Goku doing literally anything other than being a father.
He's not doing much of that now.
Right. Mowing his neighbor's lawns, like.
It's been a lot of fun talking Dragon Ball Super with you guys. I guess we'll go ahead and go into some plugs. I'm Jason Hahn. We're all writers for ScreenRant.com. My buddies here write comics, articles about comics, Marvel, DC, and mangas, come up with all kinds of interesting, cool theories. So check that out if you are digging the stuff we're throwing out, because there's more of it on Screen Rant. I also do a YouTube series called Honzy and Friends. I do Let's Play videos with friends. We try to make each other laugh, play cool games, do streaming and stuff like that. So if that's your kind of thing, check that out as well. Also, we do other series on Mega Manga Mondays like One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, all kinds of stuff. Check out other episodes if you liked this, and find us on Twitter at M Manga Mondays. And find updates on there. But Steven, any recommendations or plugs, buddy?
Yeah, well, I'll just first say that I went into one of the Honzy and Friends plays, and it was a fun time. There were laughs to be had, so I definitely recommend watching that. Even if you're not a gamer, I enjoyed it immensely.
Thanks, man.
For recommendations, it was a good week for me, at least, for Undead Unluck. I keep on saying that it's underrated, but this last chapter, if that didn't earn it an anime adaptation, I don't know what will. So if you're not reading Undead Unluck, read it. Just like chapter 110 was awesome. Then also Chojin X, which is Suiyashida's latest manga. He's the mangaka of Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, so Chojin X chapter 22 of that, it's throwing the whole, it's because he's taking inspiration from Tokyo Ghoul and throwing it upside down, but he did that in Chojin X, but then he also flipped the Chojin X world upside down. So it's like it was a momentous chapter for both Chojin X fans as well as Tokyo Ghoul fans. So
very cool. Another one of your recommendations previously was Black Clover, and I think I'm only about 20 chapters away from finishing that. I got up to like 310. So I'm very excited and enjoying that. And as soon as I finish that, think I might jump into Undead Unluck. I also been meaning to read My Hero Academia Vigilantes, so the list goes on. But Spencer, anything you want to pitch or plug, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as those recommendations, man, I might have to take those up myself. That sounds awesome. Yeah, no, as far as recommendations go, as for right now, as we were talking about, I've really been digging into just the earlier pages of Dragon Ball Super. There's a lot there that's not in the anime, but there's also a lot that the anime has that the manga doesn't. So it's it's kind of a trade off. But yeah, check those out if you're not as familiar, especially if you're keeping up with the latest stuff. I feel like we made a lot of connections between what's happening, what will happen, and what has already happened, what's been established, what is yet to be. So yeah, check those out. Read along with me. I mean, I'm kind of writing articles right now. The past few weeks have been kind of covering, Goku Black, Tournament of Power. I recently went over Moro and everything like that. So that'd probably be my recommendation. But yeah, check them out. Screen Rant. Spencer Connolly, screenrant.com.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, I'm excited to check that out too. Because yeah, as I said, I haven't read Dragon Ball Super before Tournament of Power wrapped up. So I'm sure there's lots of insightful things that I'm very interested in checking out. But that'll about do it for this episode of Mega Manga Monday, Dragon Ball Super Chapter 84. And I'm excited to talk about the next one with you guys next month when that comes out. And thanks again for your time.
For sure.
All right, you guys have a good one.